Um, we looked at the maybe some of the introductory materials to proverb, actually not much, like titles and title and authorship and divisions of proverb. One of the questions that we try to answer was that who wrote book of Proverbs? Of course, good majority of them was written by Solomon, right? Remember, when you look at the divisions, look at chapter 1 till chapter 9 is described as Proverbs of Solomon. From chapter 10 to 22, heading gives you in the Bible, Proverbs of Solomon. But then we don't know, chapter 22 to 24, again, you see the heading, words of the wise. Who could be that one? Who is this wise man? We don't know. Bible doesn't give us any clue. Could be Solomon. We don't know. Then chapter 25 onwards, you have Proverbs of Solomon transcribed by Hezekiah the scribes. Yes, so that is about another 4 chapters in Proverbs. Then last 2 chapters are written by different authors. That's what we looked at. Words of Agur and words of Lemuel, King Lemuel, a king that we have no idea about, right? So that is, he's not an Israelite king. So here is someone who is not Israelite, but still you have his words are added here in this book of Proverbs, and very interesting. Now, date, I'm not going to explain so much detail, so I just gave a brief introduction because I don't want to take you into all the details of what maybe someone from a liberal background or someone from a higher critical viewpoint would say, like later exile and things like that. That's what they would say. But most of the conservative scholars believe that it can range from the inception point of BC 970 and probably ended terminus ad quem. The ending of the writing could be something around 700 BC, right? That's how we need to understand. Now, growth of the book of the Proverbs. How do we understand? Probably these were collected different ways. So maybe you can have this way, stage 1, known as the first edition that is edited. Maybe this is, scholars say, the first, stage 1 was the group of books that they had in the beginning, and stage 2, maybe they had, plus there were more proverbs were added in the stage 2, New Solomonic collection, like compiled by Hezekiah the scribes. And in the stage 2, later they added chapter 30 and 33. So that's how this collection took place. Initially, they did not have everything, then more added, and finally you have 31. We are talking about very early time period. This is a chart taken from Block. So how these proverbs were collected. And then the next one, canonicity. What are the things we need to look at canonicity? Yes, first of all, in Hebrew canon, we have, in some tradition, Proverbs follows Psalm, and some other, it follows Job, right? That's how in the Hebrew Bible, where it comes in the canon, in the whole Bible. Whereas in Septuagint, yes, Proverbs all follows Psalms, and that's the reason we have it here, right? We have it here in our Bible, same order. We have Proverbs after Psalms in our English Bible, as well as other vernacular Bibles. Now citations are given there, and if you want to know where are Proverbs cited, given there, please look into. Now, let's look into Jewish questions about canonicity of Proverbs. Jewish questions about canonicity of Proverbs. Yes, Talmud indicates that some Jewish scholars had some questions about supposed contradiction between Proverbs 26 verse 4 and Proverbs 26 verse 5. Right? I'm not going to answer that now, but I think it may be good for us to simply look into them. Let's look at Proverbs chapter 26 verse 4. All right, open your Bibles, and if we can read, let's read. (26) verse 4. Can one of you please read?
Do not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you also be like him.
All right, verse 4 says, do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you will be like him yourself. What is next verse says? Verse 6. So
Ans-
yes, verse 5.
Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes.
All right, let me ask a question. Is it a contradictory verse? Anyone? Is it a contradictory verse? Proverbs chapter 26, verse 4 and 5. Do you see any contradiction? No? Anyone? Anyone bold enough to say? All right.
Both
Okay.
answer and not answer. Answer and not answer.
Yeah. Verse 4 says, do not answer a fool according to his folly. Verse 5 says, answer a fool according to his folly. You see the contradiction there. All right. So they had some questions, Jewish scholars. The Talmud then goes on to say that one pertains to the law and other secular affairs. The fact that Jews had some questions about this should not be understood mean that they were necessarily questioning its canonicity. In fact, the otherwise. They had come up with some explanation of this superficial contradiction because it was in their canon. And we are going to look at that later. So, yeah, there were some questions about canonicity, but they did not deny, but they knew this verse, Proverbs chapter 26, verse 4 and 5, the alleged contradiction. They knew that verse, and they've come up with some explanations. And they said, no, this is part of canon. This is God's word, no doubt. But yes, something that we need to explain it. That's what they were saying. Now, another issue in the book of Proverbs. I know that most of you, I think, otherwise you might have studied, you might have done a serious study on the book of Proverbs. Otherwise, you may not have come across this one. All right, what is the issue? Issue is one of the Egyptian literature, Amene Mob. All right, Amene Mob. This is an Egyptian literature. And in the Proverbs chapter 22, verse 17 to 24, verse 22, these many verses are, maybe the accusation or something is that's why it is taken from the Egyptian literature instruction of Amene Mob. Yeah, right. So, what do you say? Various views concerning the date of Egyptian literature, it is still there. So the 30 sayings of Amene Moab have some similarity with the 30 sayings found in 22:17 to 24:22. So there is some similarity. So the question is, who borrowed from whom? That's a question. Did the authors of Proverbs copy from Amene Moab, or the Egyptian literature that is Amene Moab has copied from Proverbs? That is the question. There is no answer. Yeah. The critical scholars, like higher criticism, liberals, they would always say, no, Bible always borrow from other literature. So they said this is borrowed from Egyptians. That's what critical scholars would say. But conservative like us, if you are, we don't have any problem in dating, or because we don't accept it at all. Why we say, all right, first of all, I have given here some parallels between Proverbs and Mob, right? Proverb and Mob, how these parallels are given. They have got some 8 chapters, and the sayings are taken, how these parallels are. All right. Now, there are a number of problems with understanding that this section of proverb has been borrowed from the instruction of Mob, right? There are a number of problems. I, laid out that problem. First of all, difference in length. Egyptian is much longer than Hebrew, longer, right? 30 chapters in Mob ranges length from 7 to 26 line. That is big, but proverb basically has usually 4-line stanza. And therefore, we don't think that is what happened, but it is copied from that book. It is completely different literature. Yes, problem related to dating. Now, many differences of opinion in dating indicate that we have nothing definite at this point. So we are not really worried about dating, right? So we know that most of the proverb has come from Solomon. And when did Solomon reign? He's reigned like 40 years, 970 to 930 BC. This is Solomon's reign. And Hezekiah, who compiled some of the proverbs of Solomon, reigned between 726 BC to 68 BC. All right. So this cannot be could not have been borrowed from Egyptian. Why? Right? Because the Egyptians' writings are much older, maybe much older. There's no point in copying. Now, the main problem is this one, right? Yes, it is true. Few verses are significantly similar. Few verses. Assume that Mob was written earlier than Proverbs. There are some similarities in 11 of the 30 stanzas, right? 11. These very general account for about 37% of the material that we are talking. Even if these 11 possible parallel stanzas influenced Solomon, right? Maybe let's take at face value some of these verses influenced Solomon, that is borrowed from them, like take that way. We need to understand he has not copied them. He has not slavishly copied, but he artistically modified them and has incorporated these into present text, present context. However, differences are significant enough to question even this kind of conclusion. Even this kind of conclusion. It is because the differences are so huge. So someone accusing Solomon of copying those verses, I have to say Solomon did not copy, because Solomon's lens was completely different. So when Solomon writes, he uses the lens of God in writing. So it is clearly different. Now, I also wanted to add a theological difference here. Yeah. Whatever parallels there are, they have been put in terms of Israel's faith. That is, the Proverb 22 verse 23 says, for the Lord will plead their cause. Right? The Yahweh. Right? There are a lot of things Solomon might have learned, But Solomon always used what he has learned with Yahweh. So, but Egyptians don't serve Yahweh. They serve heathens. And there is no point in talking that way. So we are in a theologically safer position to assume that we have similarities that have come about because of common cultural similarities. So why? Now, here is a hint. Why there were similarities? It is because of common cultural similarities. Friends, maybe, see, India is a huge country with a lot of differences in culture. But having said that, there are a lot of differences in culture. There are also a lot of similarities in culture. I am saying not only India, maybe most of the South Asian countries. So if you look at the proverbs and sayings, maybe yes, there are similar proverbs can arise from different parts of this culture because of the similarities. That doesn't mean that that everything, this is coming from one person. For example, I will tell you a proverb in my language, all right? In my language, the proverb actually says, if you eat anything slowly, right? If you eat anything slowly, it says you can eat thorns too. You see, if you eat anything slowly, you can eat thorns. You understand, thorns. This is a saying in one place. But if you look at it in some other place, they will say, if you eat anything slowly, you can eat palm tree as well. You see, palm tree? Palm tree is so tall, kind of coconut tree that is so tall. If you eat anything slowly, you can eat a palm tree as well. You see, according to the culture, according to different areas, there can be similar but little bit differences, right? Yeah, you learn this, but what Solomon does, whatever he has learned, he looks at with the lens of the Lord, the lens of Yahweh. That is difference. Friends, that's how it has a significant place in our Bible, right? See, you have a lot of proverbs and sayings in your countries, but when it is connected with God, that has much more priorities, right? All right, now let's look at characteristics of proverb. This is the main thing that we need to look at today. Yes, proverb, or in English, sometime proverb is called as aphorism, right? These proverbs are found throughout in the Bible, right? Don't think that this is only in the book of Proverbs, right? Wisdom literature such as Ecclesiastes, Job are characterized by their use of proverbs, right? And proverbs are commonly found in poetic literature. For example, Psalm. Even in Psalm, you see proverb. Jesus used a proverb in Mark 12, right? And epistle of James in the New Testament contain many proverbs. So it is a common literary form found in the Bible. So what is a proverb, right? Here is the definition of biblical proverb, right? Unlike other proverb, it is a concise, memorable saying, usually in poetic form, expressing a generally accepted observation about life as filtered through biblical revelation. So look at that one, right? You have usually something in poetic form, and expressing generally accepted observation about life. So this is memorable saying. They are concise. So these are the way. Let's look at how they are to look at. So proverb is concise and memorable. Friends, anything needs to be proverb. It should be concise, right? Remember, what is a famous proverb in the world? Can anyone say? What is a famous proverb in this world? Anyone? What is a famous proverb? Huh? If you're with me, please let me know. What is a famous proverb in the world? Anything? Anyone? Famous proverb.
Is it like all over the world? One
Yes.
proverb is famous?
Yeah. I think this is there's one major part of the world, I would say.
Is it do unto others what you want them to do for you?
Oh, that is much more biblical, and it has no maybe.
Work is worship.
Huh?
Work is worship.
Yeah, I mean, very few people know. I love that one. I love that one, but very few people know. What is the famous proverb that most of the people use? Maybe, okay, let me give you a clue. It's part of maybe part of our health.
Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Oh, right. It was, that's too bad.
Health is wealth.
Health is wealth, all right. Well, still, I think few people know that one. People know
An
it.
apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Yeah. You know that one? Yeah. An apple a day keeps doctor away. I think it is so famous.
It's a saying.
Yes, this is a proverb. So understand the what is a proverb? It is concise and memorable. Like all that glitters are not gold is also a famous proverb. So I am saying if you search on the internet, you might come up apple a day keeps a doctor away, which is not an absolute truth. It is not an absolute truth, right? I mean, there are a lot of people who eats apple every day and still goes to their doctor, but you see that what I'm saying. Yes, so they are this memorable saying must be skillful in use of words and syntax. Look at that. An apple in a day keeps doctor away. Look at that words and syntax, how it plays. All right, so you will see that you need to have much wisdom and experience, and so it is reducing the author's observation about life into proverbial form. The sage, look at that word sage, the wise man, right? Sage means what? Wise man was aiming to make his observation permanent, right? Permanent. All right, so that is one of the things we need to understand. It's concise and memorable. Number two.
That Pastor, older or wiser? That is all over the world, they believe. The older, the wiser.
Is it? Maybe. I don't know.
In all the countries, in ancient times, they used to, the king used to consult the wisest man will be the oldest man.
Older, yeah, most experienced, right? Yeah, could be. You could be right, sister. Could be right, because maybe I'm just saying from my understanding. So yes, concise and memorable, but it also very profound. It has to be very profound. For example, look at this one. All a man's way seems right to him, but the Lord weighs his heart. Right? The basic point of this proverb is that people think that they have the accurate self-evaluation for their actions, but the Lord has the evaluation of their heart. So you see, they are very profound, very profound. And Proverb is specific yet general. They are speaking to specific situation, but it is general in nature. One here, 26 verse 27, if a man digs a pit, he will fall into it. If a man rolls a stone, it will roll back on him. You see that one? A man who digs a pit specifically refers to someone laying a trap for another. And a man who rolls a stone refers to placing weight upon one, keeping weight upon one's opponent from which he cannot escape. Right? So, if you look at, and the result is that in both cases, it will backfire. And the general point of the proverb here is that once, one reaps what he sows. So proverbs are very specific but general. Number 4, yes, and this is proverbs are in poetic form. What is poetic means? There will be, line, parallelism, figurative languages, everything will be there, right? For example, in Proverbs chapter 6, you'll see talking about sluggard, right? You learn from sluggard. It's a kind of poem written there to talk about the foolish man. Foolish man is a sluggard, or sluggard is a foolish man. That is what we understand from there. And biblical proverb is an observation about life as filtered through biblical proverb. This is what makes biblical proverb different from all other proverbs. An apple a day keeps doctor away is not a biblical proverb. Biblical proverbs are the observation about life filtered through God's eyes, friends. God's eyes. All right. Now, so that is about some of the characteristics of proverbs. Now let's look at literary form of proverbs. All right, literary form of proverbs. Yes, there are a few things that we need to look at. I think we will look at that tomorrow.